Yo, freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, freedom fighters. Good morning to you. I said good morning to you. I said good morning to you. It's your boy Snapzilla Gorilla, aka the definition, aka Snap, aka whatever the fuck, aka anything but my motherfucking government name. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. Give you guys a little bit to climb up in the building. It is Monday, August 14th, 2023. And right now I am on my way back to the apartment in Georgia, where I will get ready to go to work for the day. All right. Marcy T's in the building. How you doing? How's everything going, Marcy T? Can't really read too many of the chat, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, I'm on my way back to the apartment before I get ready to go to work today, and I wanted to discuss this Montgomery, what some people are calling a battle, but really it was just a brawl. You know, yeah, it's not a battle, but I can understand where people are coming from in that regard. Anyway, we're gonna get into that. You know, we all know what happened with the Montgomery battle or brawl, right? How it started. And if you don't know, if you're not familiar, I'll get into a little bit of it right now. Basically, what happened was there's this river in Montgomery, Alabama, where they have this riverboat where people go out and take tours and all that stuff. And it is basically so basically you get on this thing and they have a certain area where they dock when they get back. And apparently there was this boat, a black boat, owned by certain individuals that had their boat there. And there was a dock worker. He was a black dock worker, was trying to make space for this riverboat to dock. And this boat, this black dinghy or whatever you want to call it, was in the way. Now, just so happened this thing was owned by some white folks, okay? So you got a black man working at the docks, a black dock worker, trying to make space, or whose duty it was to make space and ensure that that particular dock slip, or whatever you want to call it, was available for this riverboat. And this dinghy owned by these white folks were incorrectly parked in this spot, or incorrectly docked in that spot. And so he tried to get them to move it. He verbally approached them. Look, guys, you got to move your boat. You got to move your boat. I got to get this thing docked here. And they said, screw you, screw that riverboat. We're going to keep our shit where it is. So the dock worker took it upon himself to then use something to move the boat out of the way when he is confronted by these people that own this dinghy. Again, white folks. And he is getting into a verbal altercation with them, and eventually, he's like, screw that, you got to move your shit, blah, blah, blah. But that was not where it ended for the white folks, at least. One of the white men, all right, and I'm using, because that's what it is. He's white, the dock worker is black, and this is a very important distinction. Okay, very important distinction, and basically, especially given the outcome of the situation. All right. So out of nowhere, one of these white boys came up and punched the dock worker. All right, punched the black dock worker sucker punched him, whatever you want to call it. Just a completely uncalled for move on the part of this white man. All right, and eventually, you know, this black dock worker is trying to basically get away from the situation, trying not to. He's kind of engaging, but he's kind of not, because he understands that there are multiple people attacking him at one time. So the initial white boy hits him, and then the other one, or a couple more, jump in and try to get at him. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, the black dock worker throws his hat up. Now, people are saying that this is like a signal that he's in distress or whatever the case may be. Needless to say, somebody answered the call, right? A black man who was above them, you know, they had this little ramp, okay? At the top, the black man saw and came to aid the black man that was being attacked, the black dock worker. But he wasn't trying to fight these white boys, right? He was just trying to get them off of them, trying to break it up, trying to, you know what I'm saying? But more white people came to jump on these two black dudes, right? And then, of course, it sprung out from there, and eventually you had quite a few black people coming to the aid of these black people that were getting attacked by these multiple white people. And it blew up into this whole thing. Eventually a chair gets involved. You know what it is. The chair gets involved, blah, blah, blah. This white lady attacked this black dude. And then the black dude's wife came because the white lady was putting her hands on her husband. So she got in and then just, you know, basically knocked her to the ground, start molly-whopping her, you know what I'm saying? And then the one of the black dudes, man, he was just going off with this chair, man. And then eventually started whacking the white lady on the ground with the chair, which led to his arrest, basically. You know, whether that was a smart move to attack the white lady on the ground who was essentially that's neither here nor there. That's a whole nother separate issue. What I want to talk about is the fact that, you know, people talk about black on black crime, black people don't do nothing for each other, this, that, and the third, and they never stand. This completely destroys that argument, okay? It completely destroys that argument, because guess what? Black people are capable of standing up for each other. Black people are capable of coming to the aid of each other and doing for each other. Now, this is nothing new I just saw a falling star. This is nothing new under the sun. A lot of people like to give you the impression that black people can't come together under one accord for any goal or any purpose. This is complete bullshit, right? And it's not just this Montgomery situation that highlights this. There are many other situations and many other instances in which black people do come together under one accord for a common cause or for a common good. It's just not highlighted by anybody. It's not highlighted by mainstream media. It's not highlighted by black conservative YouTubers or white conservative YouTubers or even white liberal YouTubers, even liberals. No one wants to see or showcase black people coming together. It just so happens that in this case with the Montgomery Alabama thing, they had no choice because it became viral. People were filming it, you know, and it started getting spread from there. This idea that black people can't come together, we can't work together, we can't do this, we can't cooperate, is completely utter bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what this highlights. And these are black people that came to the aid of other black people that they didn't even know. They didn't know each other. They just knew that, hey, all these people are attacking this man, and we're going to help him because you got all these white people jumping in, and they're not aiding anybody. They're just adding to the terrorism. They're terrorizing this black man. And so black people came to the aid of this black man to stop the terrorism of, you know what I'm saying? That's basically how I see it. You know, that's how I see it. And so this happens in many other instances outside of this thing here. Yeah, like I said, they want to show black people going against each other. That's the whole narrative, right? Black on black crime, black people doing shit to other black people, which is true, right? To a degree, which is true. It's just, to me though, it's about proximity and familiarity, right? Proximity and familiarity. When it comes to black on black crime, it's about proximity. It's about, for me, it is about, impoverished on impoverished crime, right? To me, that's what it's about. Disenfranchised on disenfranchised crime. If you are part of a disenfranchised group living amongst other disenfranchised people within a neighborhood or within an area that is full of other disenfranchised, are, doing quite well for themselves. They're not rich, they're not wealthy, they're not affluent, but they're still in those neighborhoods. These are going to be the victims of said crimes. And then you also have territorial beefs amongst amongst disenfranchised people or disenfranchised groups that form groups defending their territory or adding to the territory. And then when you get drugs involved, you have that element as well. And so, yeah, you're going to have different factions within this region, within this proximity, that are going to go against each other, that are going to compete, that are going to. This is human nature in general. It has nothing to do with a skin tone. It has nothing to do with a skin color. This is the nature of humans, period. Since before time was even recorded, when Homo sapiens sapiens were not Homo sapiens sapiens. They were Neanderthals, and they were Cro-Magnon men and all these other things. And then a little bit after that, when they started forming language and culture and all that other stuff, society, creating societies and civilization. Since that time, there have been factions amongst groups of people that competed for superiority, or competed for land, competed for food, competed for. This is just the nature of the beast. It has nothing. It's not about black culture, right? It's not black. It's human evolution. It's human nature, right? Human nature. That's just what it is. People, they fight amongst each other, whether they black, white, Hispanic, orange, purple. You know what I'm saying? The Mongols and the Japanese, the motherfucking samurais and the motherfucking y'all know, right? It is what it is. The barbarians and the motherfucking Romans, right? They're two groups of white folks, Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings, right? Don't try to. Don't believe the hype. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking that only black people attack each other. That's just a black thing. No, it's not. Even to this day, you got massive white on white crime, white on white, white on white slaughter when you hit with the Ukraine and the Russian thing. You know what I'm saying? Two groups of white people, right? Two groups of, you know what I'm saying? Russian and Ukrainian. They're both white. They're both Caucasoids at the end of the day. That they're fighting each other. They're fighting for position. They're fighting for territory. They're fighting for resources. And that at the end of the day has nothing to do with poverty. You know what I'm saying? And don't get it twisted. The elites fight amongst each other in different forms. They just use different type of warfare. They attack each other economically, right? They'll put each other out of business. They'll defraud each other. You know what I'm saying? They'll defraud each other. They'll commit corporate espionage. That is crime at the end of the day. So black people do not have a monopoly on committing acts against each other that are to the detriment of either group. So this whole idea that, oh, black people just this, black people just that. No, get the fuck out of here with that. All right. Every group, white, black, whatever, Latino, they have. There's always been different factions fighting amongst each other. You got that. That's what the Civil War was about. The Civil War was not about freeing black slaves. Oh, I want to keep my slaves. Oh, you can't keep a slave. No, what it was about was state sovereignty, right? We're maintaining sovereignty of the state, right? Certain states, yeah, and part of that had to do with, well, they wanted to keep the goddamn slaves. They wanted to be able to have slaves. They wanted to be able to be slave owners. But that was just a part of what the Civil War was about. A big part of the Civil War was about sovereignty. Certain states wanted sovereignty. The Union didn't want them to break off. You know, they didn't want them to secede. Abraham Lincoln, he wanted to keep the Union together. Well, these certain states didn't want to keep the Union. They wanted to make their own money. This is what this is about. You know, cotton was a huge commodity, and slaves were a huge element of that commodity, right? And so the issue was, though, that there were thousands, hundreds and thousands of revolts all across, the South in regards to slaves revolting, slaves rebelling, and it was creating an issue for the economy of the United States. And, it was a problem. So basically, they wanted to end slavery, right, and move to sharecropping to give the illusion that the slaves would be free, but they'd still be working and picking cotton and doing all this other stuff to earn money for the country. And so what happened? Well, certain states were like, nah, we want to keep our slaves. We ain't had, hey, that's not fair. And they wanted to keep a lot of the money they earned from cotton picking and the import and export of cotton. They wanted to keep a lot of that to themselves because, again, cotton was a huge commodity. But that's neither here nor there right at this moment in time. What this Montgomery Alabama's brawl demonstrates is that when a certain group of people come together against an aggressor to end that aggression, it is epic, and it is something that is admirable, and it's something that is necessary. And it's not necessarily about black versus white, even though in this case it was, right? That is what it was. A bunch of black people stood up to a bunch of white aggressors. And that's what this was about. When you come together under one accord to attack your aggressor, 9 times out of 10, that aggressor is going to lose, and they're going to lose their power. They're going to lose, right? Because there's always more oppressed people than there are oppressive people. You understand what I'm saying? So when you have an oppressed people, they're usually larger in number than the people that are oppressing them. Because really, in reality, the small percentage of people have these ideas of complete and total domination over a group of people, right? Only a small percentage of people have aspirations for complete and total absolute power. That's not something that normal people or average amount of people actually want, right? Most people just want to mind their own business. They want to be able to do what they want, and that's it. But some people have it in their mind that, oh, well, I know what's best for everybody. And so I must push my opinion. I must push my influence. I must push this. I must push that to achieve absolute power, whether they think they're doing it for the good of the people or not. And it's always less of those people that want that power, that want to be that oppressor, that want to be The pool of tyrannical people is small in percentage. And so if the oppressed or aggressed upon individuals rise up, and 9 times out of 10 again, the oppressed individuals are going to be the righteous individuals compared to the oppressors, right? The oppressors are always going to have the moral disadvantage, right? The moral disadvantage. And when the oppressed people stand up to fight off this tyranny and this oppressive people, they always win. They always win. It just so happens that when they win, well, they have no interest, basically, in maintaining or having power over other individuals. So it always leaves them vulnerable to other people rising up and oppressing them. Look at what happened in Haiti, right? Look what happened in Haiti. The Haitian Revolution was very successful against the French, right? But what happened with that? Well, people don't like that, right? A lot of people don't like that. And so Haiti was basically ostracized from other freed communities because they had a completely successful revolution to where, you know, they basically just got rid of the French, basically. Like they were successful in keeping the French out of their country altogether. Whereas in the United States of America, well, it was completely different because by the time, and let's understand this, the Haitian Revolution was successful, where the American Revolution, in terms of, I'm not talking about, you know, the colonists of the United States, you know, getting rid of the British influence. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the slaves. I'm talking about the slaves of the United States. It wasn't successful like the Haitian Revolution was, right? They weren't able to drive out their slave owners. No, they had to come to some sort of treaty and all that stuff. Not even a real treaty, right? Fuck that. No, they didn't get a real treaty like the Native Americans did. You know, they had these amendments made, and basically when the slaves were freed, they had to fall and assimilate. They had to assimilate within the United States structure, within that government structure. Whereas in Haiti, they completely got rid of the system that was oppressing them. They got the system out of the country, and therefore they were ostracized, right? And basically, Haiti is now essentially is still a French protectorate, but they were completely neglected, right? They were cut off. They were cut off from trade. They were cut off from this. They were cut off from that. And you know, you had the UN and all these other supposed groups going in there and just completely just destroying Haiti from within, right? Just making Haiti just this crippled nation that could never ever get on their feet and become a strong nation. That's just what happened in Haiti. That was the penalty for a successful revolution. But imagine though, if the same thing happened worldwide that happened in Haiti, like a synchronized revolution, a synchronized revolt, where every nation that had slaves were able to drive out their oppressive slave owners, not just in slavery and have those same motherfuckers that were enslaving you still remain in that country, and you're still all under their rules and under their system. Imagine if nation worldwide, where there was slavery everywhere, even in Europe, even white slaves. I'm not leaving those people out. Any oppressed or enslaved people, imagine if they rose up all together at once. Now this was nearly impossible because a lack of, there was no internet. There was no ability for them to communicate and all that other stuff. No, there was no capability of that. But imagine if there had been. Imagine if they had the internet back in those days where slavery was going on, where chattel slavery was going on. And they were able to get the word out and say, well, we need to rise up as a people, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then instead of just ending the slavery, okay, instead of just getting the oppressive government that invaded you to end the slavery and still remain in your country and still rule over you, no, you drove their ass out, drove their ass back to where they came from. Hey, it probably would have been a lot of better. It probably been a much better place, right? Probably would have still had smaller enclaves of individuals that were able to live, and they were able to do their own thing instead of having big daddy government rule over them and control them. There are always going to be more oppressed people than oppressive people, right? And that's why the Montgomery brawl was so successful for the black people, because they were able to rise up and say, nah, you ain't doing this. And they were able to whiz ass up the asses of the aggressors in that situation. But here's the problem. Now you got Alabama and them, all the law enforcement talking about possibility of arresting certain black individuals that were there at that time, like prosecuting them. You understand? Because yeah, while they were successful in protecting and standing up for each other in that instance, they may well be penalized for it. They may well be penalized for it. And this is what happens when not enough people rise up, not only to stop the oppression, but to drive the oppressor out, or to make an example of that oppressor or group of oppressors. And what do I mean by making an example? Well, you can guess, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have an imagination to discover what is one of the best ways to ensure a despot or a dictator or a tyrant never does it again, can never have a chance ever to do it again in their life, no matter where they go, because they ain't going nowhere. They just going, they have to answer, they got their name on a precious metal. The name is on a precious metal that's probably going to cost about, depends on how devastating you want it to be, maybe like 30 cents, 20 cents, $1, depending on what size you want, where you want it to come out of. Well, guess what? That person can't do it ever again. But it can't just be one individual. It has to be every single tyrant that has committed that. Every single person that has committed tyranny against a group of people that wanted nothing more than to be just left alone to live their own lives. And, my question would be, why didn't certain individuals within the YouTube space specifically talk about this? Is it because the white people were the aggressors in this instance? Can you imagine if the roles were reversed and there was a white dock worker who were attacked by a bunch of black people? Certain individuals would definitely come out to bash those black people. They would definitely come out to do that. And, and I'm specifically, and not specifically, but there are a bunch of people. Why haven't they talked unless I'm wrong? Y'all tell me if I'm wrong though, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Radical black, or not the radical black conservative perspective, Brandon Tatum, not just black conservatives, Tim Pool. I don't think Tim Pool ever talked about it. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Did Tim Pool talk about the Montgomery, Alabama thing? Just individuals like that. Why have that? This is the big story. This is a big deal. Why haven't they talked about it? I'll tell you why. In my mind, this is why I believe. I believe that they didn't talk about it because the white people were the aggressor, and it would highlight the fact that violence of this nature is not black culture. They want you to believe that black people have a monopoly on this level of violence, this level of senseless violence towards a group of people. No, they don't want you to think that, oh, well, white people can and Mexicans can and Asian people can do the same shit. No, they want you to think that black folks are just the most dangerous people on earth, and they need to be controlled, and they need to be, oh, you can't have certain, you know what I mean? Like, this is what they want you to believe. They don't want you to understand and realize that black people do not have a monopoly on this level of violence. It's just not, it's not the case. It's not the case. But they don't want you to believe that. That's why they will never cover this. This is why they will, sweep it under the rug, act like it never happened, won't even discuss it to any degree, form, or fashion. Well, hell, probably won't even put people on their show that they feel like might bring it up. This is what I'm talking about. But if it were a white dock worker being attacked by black people, oh, trust me, they would be talking about this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. But shout out to Anthony Brian Logan for actually talking about it. He did a video on it. Respect to him for talking about it. But I will have to say this. He was so quick to say, "Oh no, this ain't about race. No, this ain't about race. Oh, this, it just basically trying to say that, well, the attack against that black man wasn't racially motivated. That's what he believes, and he's entitled to his beliefs. He's entitled to his beliefs. But I feel like, and I believe that if the roles were reversed, that Anthony Brian Logan would see a racial component. That's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. That's what I'm sticking to. But at least Anthony Brian Logan had the balls to come out and talk about it, and talk about how those white folks was wrong from jump. They were wrong from jump. So shout out to Anthony Brian Logan for that. But all his cohorts, all the people that think like him, the so-called conservatives, they definitely will not speak on it, as far as I know. And I think that is because the aggressor were white people. The aggressors were white people. The person that was attacked was a black man. All this, that, and the third, and they do not want to call attention to the level of facts that must be understood when you see that situation happen. And hey, to me, it just confirms what I have believed for the longest time, and that is that these people that don't want to talk about it, they are just panders to the white conservative base. Period. Not even just the white conservative base. The conservative base in general. They pander. They are not going to tell them what they don't want to hear. They're not going to be completely honest and truthful. They are just going to feed them bullshit the way they want to hear it. And every now and then they'll push back. But it'll only be to the degree of, oh, well, Trump is tripping. Trump is this. Trump ain't acting right. Trump is attacking Kayleigh McEnany. They'll talk about that shit. It's safer, right? Because what we're talking about now, Kayleigh McEnany versus Donald Trump. Well, there's no racial component, and yeah, they're gonna bust my balls about Trump. But all I gotta do is kick Donald Trump's ass later on, and they'll be back in my good graces. I'll be back in their good graces. You understand what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's safe enough for them, but it's not safe for. Am I back, y'all? Yeah, they don't want. No, they don't want this, right? They're not going to they're not going to talk about that, right? They're going to keep it outside of the realm of that because they want to maintain their base. And if they are if they are truthful and honest about this Montgomery thing, well, then guess what? They're going to lose subscribers, and they're not going to get a lot of them back, right? They're not going to get a lot of them back because once you cross that line and once you go down that road, well, you have picked sides in their mind. You can't be objective. You can't be honest. You can't be truthful. You can't be factual. You can't be logical to that degree. And so they're going to be gone. I mean, look what happened to the clown shoe Lucas, right? When he flipped, when he decided that he wasn't going to pander for the conservative base no more. It had nothing to do with his criticism of Trump, right? Because you can criticize Trump and the conservative base, they'll go in on you for it. But at the end of the day, real, true conservative people, they're not really Trumpers like that. Trumpers are really kind of moderate, right or left-leaning, you know what I'm saying? And the left is so far left these days that, yeah, Donald Trump seems like a far-right candidate or far-right individual. But that's not really the case if you really understand politics like that. But, yes, you can criticize Trump and get back in their good graces. But as soon as you choose black over white, right? As soon as you do that, as soon as you make that decision, as soon as you say, you know what, these white folks were wrong to attack these black people. And the black people stood up, fought them back, fought their ass off, stomped them into the ground. And they were 100% right for doing so. 100% right and correct. They know. Oh yeah, they're gonna lose quite a bit of subscribers, and they're never gonna come back. They're never gonna come back. This is why Brandon Tatum bashes black folks as often as he can. Jesse Lee Peterson attacks black people as often as he can. The conservative perspective, same shit. Constantly. Even when they're not talking about black people, even when the subject that they're talking about is not black people, they'll still find a way to throw black people in there and bash them and all this, that, and the third. Because they know it'll maintain their base. They know that it'll keep that money coming in. And that's just what it is. And so, there you have it. There you have it. But that's all I got for now, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Thank you, Marsha T, for hollering at me in the chat. Yeah. It is what it is, you guys. You know, y'all know me. I don't pander. So, yeah, those black folks in Montgomery, Alabama, that stood up to those white folks that were attacking and aggressing upon, you know, hey, it is what it is, you know. They were well within their right. Well within their right. Anyway, y'all like, share, subscribe. Much love. Thank you for coming through. And we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.